We're getting ready to go into the second half here, or the second game here. Feels like a second half because the first one was a 16-0, but they're not wasting any time. We're going to be hopping in. You can see the game sounds coming up, so I'm not going to leave it on our face for very long. We're in. We're on. After how long they lingered in the first one, I don't know this was going to happen, but here we go. Pistol round underway. Can Ggpr get around on the board here, John?
Hopefully. I mean, like, I'm sorry.
First
I
hurdle
waited
to
too long to
overcome.
respond there. Yeah. Okay, look, their Inferno stats are better. No, actually, they're a little worse than Mirage. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, 5 games played, 2 wins, 3 losses, 65 rounds for, 64 rounds against for a +1 round differential. I already said the Bad News Bears are 9-1 here, but 157 rounds for, 84 rounds against for a +73 round differential on Inferno. I mean, like I said, bad to worse for Ggpr in terms of what they're going up against in the form of the Bad News Bears right here on Inferno. And Low Rider trying to peek around this corner. That's a good shot. Good start for Ggpr to make it a 5v4 as Spongy goes down.
They do have a decent bit of ground, and actually Lowrider's gone all the way back around towards the Arch watch. He's going to come back in, so should be here to support his teammates. One player towards site, and that's going to be Arcus, who gets a kill. Looking for more, might just have it. Arcus, more opportunity, trying to tap away, needs to reload, but none of his teammates have been dropped just yet, and Arcus still making his presence felt. It's all under John G. We know John G can do some wild things, but with a Glock to his name, a decoy perhaps, and the bomb out of grass, this is a tough ask. Still, I would say the Ggpr may be giving him a few too many opportunities, trying to face back in, trying to get these shots at range. I don't love it, and one player's going to get dinked as a result.
No time.
He doesn't have time to do this. 18 seconds, 16 seconds. He's going to go for it, because why not? Try and make some money out of the Glock. Is he actually just going to save his armor? He's coming rapping. He's full sprinting it. All right, he just wants to do as much damage as possible. There's 1 kill found. A second. And he will eventually get taken off. That was a really nice fadeaway shot there for John G. But yeah, the clock spelled his doom, and he fortunately dies before the timer runs out. So Ggpr, they're on the board. They got 16-0'd. They shook it off. They came back in. That's got to feel really damn good.
For sure. But now you got to prove you can do it outside of pistol round, because yeah, pistol round's one of those things that you can go either way, right? But we'll see. And the thing is, in that round, John G still looked impressive. I almost wanted him to go truck side and try to make some magic happen, because at the end, that fadeaway shot was quite impressive. Either way, Ggpr, good for them for sure to get that round on the board. Bad News Bears are going to force up Mike. 3 Deagles, a Tech 9, and a P250. Good utility as well. They're going to try and make something happen. That smoke could distract Ggpr and make them rotate a little heavily over to the A site. But right now, they're not really buying it. Bad News Bears stacking up towards B. It'll almost certainly be a B hit at this point, Mike.
Should be relatively straightforward. They got a good bit of utility to make it happen. And here comes the pistols. On comes the cavalry. Running harshly into the station. It's going to be on to Poison to hold the line here. And there's smokes aplenty around. That'll actually allow him to bail out towards Coffin. Swisher gets 1, but not the second. So the numbers are lost, but they should know they have the sight, and they are going to start to punch in the numbers as a result. If they get a steal on Poison, that would be huge. And he is going to get taken out as he actually runs out of bullets. So at 3-on-3, the health is not there, though, and that means these MP9s should chew through them like a hot knife through butter. But it's all well and good to say they can until they do. Down to just Alter and Spongy. Time ticking low. No kits available either, so a bit concerning there. A flash well timed, all onto Spongy now, and they swing into the dark corner and they clear him out. 10-second defuser. No, they are going to be A-okay to take this round, and Ggpr, they put a second on the board.
Well, I guess they just realized that it can't get any worse than 16-0, so they're probably walking into this one feeling pretty relaxed, knowing they're the underdogs, and maybe that's what we're seeing here in the early goings, at least, I mean, as they go up 2-0. Yep.
Look, John, good teams get 16-0'd. Astralis almost got 16-0'd by Spirit. It happens. FaZe once got 16-0'd by Fnatic. It had that was a long time ago. It does happen. You just got to be able to shake it off and get right back in. Now, this is interesting. Bad News Bears, a fair amount of investment coming back through. They've got so much util. This could be kind of wild. Throwing the mollies for top car early on. They want to prevent this aggressive play, but there's going to be the aggressive play. Arcus gets a kill with the AWP on the other side of the map, and now George has deep banana control. So despite all this util that was tossed in, none of it really held home. There's going to be a lot of space taken for Ggpr. Arcus gets another. He does get run down here as the pistols are trying to overwhelm, and that's an AWP found. And there's not really players for the site. There is one actually tucked in. Exotic slipped past my radar. And into the action, and Well, they just bailed. Everybody's rotated for Ggpr, and Janji might just walk onto B.
Yeah, that's a big over-rotation here. Poison realizing what's going on too late, though, because Janji's going to be able to get this bomb plant. This is the most important thing for the Bad News Bears in these last 2 rounds. Get that bomb down, make sure you get the economy in your hands, and then buy up in the following round. Janji's actually going to hold this pretty aggressively, waiting for the rotations to come from the CTs. I kind of like the play, because now Spongy's going to come reinforced, but they're being pinched from both sides. Still, Janji hits the shot he has to. Now they're going to go and get that bomb planted, as Spongy is the one to lay that down on the ground. 3v2 in favor of Ggpr. Can the Bad News Bears do it again? They did it so many times, Mike. We talked about it off the air, that they were continuously coming back from those 1 or even 2-man deficits.
Gonna tick onto the bomb. This is bait, though. There's the shot hit, and they don't get the kill on Janji. There's still a pistol threatening in here, so they know about it as well. They haven't gotten on the bomb just yet. Exotic gets shoulder checked, but now it's all on to Spongy. The P250 finds home, and they're just going for the defuse. He's just trying to stick it. Does he have time? No! Bad News Bears steal it away. 4 points of health, but enough for Spongy. He's made it happen. He gets out with the AWP as well, and Bad News Bears make the round work for them.
Again, at a disadvantage in the round. I think it was a 2-man disadvantage to kick things off until Janji found that frag with the op, and they just made it work. That's how good they are. First round on the board for the Bad News Bears, and that really does spell trouble for Ggpr because they've given up 2 bomb plants in a row. They had to invest pretty heavily because the Bad News Bears were doing damage to their economy on their side, and now they only have a FAMAS, an M4A4, an MP9, a Deagle, and a CZ to work with, and that's with forcing up. So we'll see what this round will materialize into. Lowrider going to get this smoke ready. Maybe a Molotov, in fact. He's trying to decide, but in the end it will be a smoke.
Oh. Janji going to get 1. Trying to bring the pressure in here. Lowrider. Looking for something. And he's gonna get caught as Janji walks through the smoke at the perfect timing. Felt it off the Molotov, realized he had his window of opportunity, and they're locked out of sight, and this should be a save. Exotic actually gets a kill towards the bottom of Banana, and that might tempt them into this, but with 3 rifles, this should really be a save. We noted they didn't really save a whole lot on Mirage.
Nope. At all.
I mean, to be fair, they only had 1 round on the CT side, where you would naturally save more often.
But even on their T side, not a single save, right? They all died 16 times, so every single round.
So, 2 guns are going to make it through. Already thwarting that narrative here, John. Bad News Bears will tie up the scoreline, though. And there's no money in the bank. So these 2 guns are going to be all there is to play with in the next round for Ggpr. Provided they don't invest. But it would be... I'd say it'd be a pretty foolish investment.
Yes, undoubtedly. I mean, everyone below the 2K mark except for Arc and Exotic. Now, Arc does invest in some utility, I believe, or maybe it was just the CZ. I'm not sure which one it was, but either way, he still has 1,700, and Exotic's going to stick that 2.3K. Now, over on the Bad News Bears, why are they so good, you might be asking? Well, they have a ton of experience. Janji's in his 13th Premier season. Peter has 6 pro seasons, and it's his 7th in Premier. Swisher it's his 6th in Premier, Alter 6th in Premier, and Spongy 9th in Premier. All these guys are loaded with experience, and they have some decent winnings too. I mean, Peter sitting at 104,000, and Janji 59,000. The Spongy's going to come out and get 1. Alter gets a 2nd. Another quick start for the Bad News Bears, but that's a heck of a shot by Poison. Credit where credit is due. He might be able to upgrade to an AK, and he does.
Problem is he's now stuck in bedroom. He's being watched. Spongy knows he can't escape. There's players watching him from alt mid. They're putting pressure on him. This is going to be the kill. Oh, Spongy hasn't killed him just yet. But he is stuck here. There's no way to get out. This is what we call a hostile work environment. Actually, Spongy gives him just a little bit of a gap to get back through. He's going to hear these footsteps, but they know he's in Boiler. They're putting him on notice. He still gets the kill on Swisher. Well done, Poison.
Yeah.
And they're making a lot of noise in apartments. Do they still realize that Spongy's here? Spongy's going to come to check, and he gets the first, not the second, though. Poison is making noise in this round. Bomb is down. 3 kills found for Poison. He doesn't have armor, but he's going to get a smoke and wait for his teammate to get in position as they attempt this retake. A 2-on-2, this is very viable. And for Poison, it would be a massive hero round. He's going to wait for Arc to get in position to join him. But time's going to be of the essence, and they don't have a kit. I don't think they have time to do this anymore. Honestly, the save might be the call, even though it stinks to have to concede. Molly going to go down, but there's a pre-smoke for it. Janji is safe. Now they know he's here. They can smoke to try and get in towards the site. But with the spray there, without armor, this is just too risky. And Peter takes the first. This round's been lost, and they know it. Just a question of who deals the final blow. Bad News Bears take it. Do they escape the bomb? They do as well. And they move into the lead. A heroic effort from Poison. But John, it wasn't enough.
It wasn't, and I thought he should have hit that shot, excuse me, on Peter as well on the A site. But he didn't. But I don't want to take anything away from him because, like you said, it was a heroic effort to get that 3K, just no support from his teammates. And let's not forget, this is the first match ever in Premier for Poison, just walking in the middle of the season to try and help this squad out. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, no doubt, and to pull off that type of play under those circumstances is pretty impressive in itself.
Well, what little utility is now gone for Ggpr, and they didn't get a lot for it. Oh, they're coming back through the smoke. That's a mistake. Fortunate not to die there, I think. Making me a bit nervous keeping the opposite one close up, but it is Peters, so, you know, he can kind of get away with it. They've got heavy presence here. Two players very tagged down, going to be brittle. And Bad News Bears will insist on taking top B. They've still got the presence in apartments. If they lurk out here, they might find Exotic and quickly realize that the site is vacant and open for business. It seems like they want to come into B, though. And with 4 Deagles on site, well, that could get a little spicy. A little bit.
It could. We saw some decent Deagle shots on Mirage. We'll see if they come through again. George is the first casualty. John played that really well. Make sure that he clears up the corner, backs off, and now he goes down. Exotic is going to get one on Alter. Lowrider got Janji, but Swisher, who's a solid player in and of himself, gets a couple of frags to get things back under control. Yes, again, and he gets the frag on Peter. Looking for Swisher, who was caught off guard as well, but a timely smoke from Swisher just in the nick of time, of course, to ensure that he survives and gets a chance to back off a little bit while the bomb comes up banana.
Late flower pot boost. That's really spicy. Spongy's now going to attempt the clutch. Really like what they're doing here. He's going to tap the bomb. Only 10 seconds to go. I can't really risk that for so long. What is that spray, though? Spongy realizes what's happening. Catches the first, but Exotic. There's the chance. There's the clutch coming through. They finally get it, John.
Poison's been key in this little bit of a resurgence here. He got that nice Deagle frag to kind of clear the way for Poison, or excuse me, for Exotic to come up banana. And then that nice boost. Oh my gosh, that flower pot boost was incredibly well timed. And we're gonna get going here in round number 7. Smoke's gonna come in quickly for the Bad News Bears for Arch side. And they're gonna try and work with them. They're not really hanging back towards that B site. And they've already pushed up into bracket. Poison's going to be waiting with that AWP. Janji thinking about walking through the smoke. The timing would be in his favor, and it is. Poison goes down with that smoke fade. 5v4 in favor of the Bad News Bears. They're just going to filter on into that A site, surrounding both Arc and Lowrider.
Janji does best. Entrying. He's so good at it. So phenomenal. Peter's going to get caught in towards mid now, and now it's going to be left to Janji and Spongy. So entry is not going to be thick. It's going to be clutching here. And Janji might just have it in the cards. There's a path towards B. He can just leave. We saw him make this work once before.
Oh,
he's going to do it again, this time through spawn. Spongy, meanwhile, is coming out of boiler. They have no idea. Brings it down to a 1v2, and Lowrider, he's in no position to do anything about this. Coming out of the pit, I think they know he's there as well. So there's not a whole lot he can do to prevent that bomb from going down, and in fact, it will be planted. Meanwhile, Spongy is all the way down towards ramp, so he's going to be a huge early warning system. Janji's going to play from the back of the new box here. And he's probably going to spot this rather quickly. I think he may have just saved the leg of Lowrider. Now he's going to bring Spongy back up to deal with it. They should have crossfire. What can Lowrider do? Nade finds home. Good damage done. Lowrider creeping around the corner, trying to find this. Janji's baiting with the gun barrel. And time is whittling down. Lowrider does have a kit, but as soon as he finds the fight, well, that was a panic quick switch. And that's a heck of a way to die.
Oh, that bait was so good. It was so good, just teasing him with the tip of the AK there.
Just the tip.
As Spongy comes around the corner and gets the spray down easily. Well played and coordinated by the Bad News Bears. as they get back to their winning ways, Mike, and they have the lead once more.
You know, here's the thing. I'm gonna make a bold statement here, John. We've been seeing a lot of NA talents start to rise towards the top. Something I've loved about this last year in Counter-Strike. As much as there have been things that are terrible, we're seeing all sorts of international rosters with NA talent on them. We got Twist on FaZe. We got Cloud9 with Zeppa and Floppy. My brain broke there for a second. I was looking at Exotic here on the server. But we're seeing more and more NA talent start to pick up. Juniors on Furia now. We're seeing players rise up through the ranks and get a chance. Well, a spot just opened up on EG, as we've seen. There's you know, change percolating through the scene. I think you're looking at a team where we could see the next star emerge, the next man up to make their way to the top of the roster. And if I may be so bold, for my money, that would be Jonji.
I would agree. He's definitely the one that's really been a rising star over the past few seasons on Chaos. He was incredibly good, but sometimes outshined by other players just because everyone was so good on that roster. But it's the same thing here, but he's managing to bring himself to the top. One thing I prefer, Mike, is if they just stick together. You know,
I mean, that'd be
to the top. Yeah.
That's always nice to see. But I mean, if EG comes knocking.
Yeah, you can't really say no.
Can't really say no. This is going to be Poison swinging around with a P250. That's, I mean, nice attempted movement. Arc is actually going to be able to get the kill, so not bad effort. Or, no, he cannot. And there is oodles of talent across the board on this roster as well. I mean, Swisher has been such a gem in terms of the last year of his development. He has really taken off. Playing with the gaming roster and now coming in and really blooming here in the Bad News Bears. There's a lot of talent on this roster. They're dripping with it.
And it's a great attitude across the board, I think, but in particular for Swisher, you know, he's just always positive. Went to the gaming roster, learning to speak, you know, Brazilian Portuguese, and it's just, I love that type of commitment. And that roster was really something else. I'm kind of surprised that it ended up the way it did because they won advance. Yeah, that's there. As George is going to get one lowrider a second. That's a good start for Ggpr. They're trying to stay in this one, and for all intents and purposes, they are still in this first half with only a 2-round deficit.
Oh, Poison. Close-up angle. He's going to hit the shot, and he gets away. That was a tricky one to take, and if the second player swung, well, it could have been risky. Flip side is he could have had a collapse. Now he's able to escape back to the Cold Zero position. There are 3 players here now. It's going to make it very difficult indeed, and you're seeing the punish come through. Lowrider takes his 3rd kill of the round, and that is a well-executed round for Ggpr. That plays out perfectly from 2 setups. You see the aggression on towards Banana. They punish 2 players there. Then you see this setup, the triangle setup on towards Zay, and it works to perfection. Love to see that from Ggpr.
It's the long con, Mike. They made them feel overconfident with the 16-0, and now they're going to come back and reverse sweep. That's what it is. As here we go in round number 10. Oh, nice Deagle shot from Peter to open things up with a bang. Poison drops in a heap. That's another round for Bad News Bears trying to pick up, and Peter gets another one. You gotta be kidding me right now. The A site's been taken just with Peter's Deagle.
This is a save. This should be a save. No. They don't have the utility to get back through. They've got a couple of mollies, but they've only got 1 smoke. I mean, you can see Arc is still concerned about B because they haven't had the bomb planted yet. It's a 3v5. Now the footsteps are going to be heard, and Spongy gets away. Spongy gets a kill as well. That's going to drop the 1 rifle that they've got, but they still have the AWP. And Jonji's going to realize it's a save. They're calling it, and Jonji's already here to hunt. Ggpr concede a round to the Deegs. It's just Dirty Peak Pete doing what Dirty Peak Pete does. Peak dirty. And there's a big old gap in that smoke, but Arc was aware of it. So he'll deal with Jonji, and that should be the one hunt they really have to contend with. Swisher's going to go chasing because he's got nothing that he really cares about saving. Just the Deagle, not even armor here. If we can get 1 gun out of their hands, that'd be great. Don't know that I fancy his chances, but the AWP will make it through. They might even recover the AK. No, ult is not even going for it. There was 1 drop towards mid. He's not going to bother.
Jeez. That's a heck of a way to come back after losing that previous round for the Bad News Bears. It was quite convincing in terms of Ggpr's 4th round victory, and the Bad News Bears, well, all they needed was Peter, and he took care of business. So, 2-round lead has been restored for the Bad News Bears over on Ggpr. They're still going to have enough to buy up here, Mike. A couple of logs, an AK saved from the previous round, and 2 M4A4s. BNB rocking the 4AK and op setup. You don't always see the op coming out on Inferno T side, but when you have a player like Peter on your side, there's really no reason not to. Peter fires off a shot through the smoke. He's going to try and set up his teammates with a flashbang. Doesn't really connect on anyone, but I mean, the space is already open for them to creep on up a little further as Ark has backed off in towards CT side, and George is on the B site. Looks like they're going for a bit of a mini B stack here. 3 players coming through. They're trying to go for banana control late in the round, Mike.
Now this is interesting. They move 2 players top and in. Do they have the utility to hang on to this? No, they don't. They're down to a single molly and a single flashbang. And there's still going to be a set of smokes coming through. They're going to put a player on top of New Box. Not a bad strategy, but George is going to need to get 1, preferably more here. The idea is that Ark's may be the first point of contact, and the second player can swing off of him. Here comes the hit. First player dumped, but it is an even trade. George does some damage. His life is lost. It's an even exchange. Without much utility, they want to go for this. They do have a kit, they do have a molly, they do have a flash. Another smoke down, and 1 more available for Spongy is going to make this difficult, but it is possible, and it seems like they're going to pull the trigger. They're going to head on in towards the site. They're going to try and make this happen. Poison and Exotic working together on one periphery. Low Rider on the other. Being held for, though.
Oh, no.
John G back by New Box. Did they just molly themselves in? They just molled themselves in.
Poison missed the Molotov. It hit the corner of the wall.
Guess this is a save now. Nope, they're still going for it. That's a little bit concerning. Dancing around the New Box. John G's still alive. He's going to get 1 here. There's the second kill from Spongy, and Spongy pivots for more. 7 rounds on the board for the Bad News Bears. 1 misthrown Molotov really throws a wrench in the works for Ggpr.
Yeah, Poison had the edge on Jonji there, missed his spray, and then Jonji took a little bit of time for him to realize what was going on, but once he did, Poison had really no chance, and the Bad News Bears picked up their 7th round. Nice, easy, clean, not a single player lost on that attempted retake by Ggpr for the Bad News Bears. Now going into this one, Ggpr, they're trying to play the economy intelligently. It's probably the right play here. Could have invested a little bit more, but maybe they want to try and get that op in play in the following round. It's going to be 4 PT50s and a Deagle versus the Bad News Bears. Same as before. No reason not to, since they pretty much held on to most of the guns. 4 AKs and the AWP, Mike. And they're sending 3 players up mid. Going to be a 4th soon. It's John G hanging back to make sure that flank doesn't come in. We'll see how long he sticks around here.
All right, here's time for the Exotic hero play. I think he's top of the board for his team. He's been doing decently, 12 and 6. Just a PT50 in this round. He's the only player with armor, though. And he's just, 1v5 on site. Easy. Just a
Easy peasy.
brisk morning jog here for Exotic. He is going to worm his way in towards the apartments, and this could be well set up. Spongy's got a clear form. The utility's out there. Oh, missed opportunity, though. Exotic had a chance at the head. Couldn't quite connect, and that should be the round. Bomb will go down. Nothing you can do about that. Honestly, even if he'd gotten that kill, probably still is the round. Janji's going to wait bottom banana and just collect some kills. Pad the stats. Why not? Lock down that side of the map. And it's all over. They'll come around. Moto position should be the next point of contact. Never mind. Swisher's already in it. Alta's looking for the next, and they do all go down. They don't let Alta get 1 kill. Could have been a team ace. Janji took 2 instead.
Yeah, so what started off looking pretty promising for Ggpr is starting to slip away from them here in this first half. Typically, Inferno can be CT-sided, or at least slightly CT-sided, but the Bad News Bears decidedly making a T-sider for themselves, already winning the half with 8 rounds on the board. Ggpr are going to be back on their rifles, though. They have 3 M4s, an op, and a FAMAS, but they're going to have to try and get banana control, which hasn't been too successful as of late. And again, Janji, touchdown. Ark is down.
That's unfortunate. You want to fight for it, and you get erased. Molly coming over. That could help out, but there's going to be pressure onto George. Flashbang is timely. He can't see her win the kill, though, in time. And that is unfortunate. Now they've lost top banana. They've lost 2 bodies to go along with it. The rotation is here for Poison, but he's going to be laid in. Lowrider is gonna try and move forward to get this. He can spot Jonji. Spam coming back through. Lowrider, can he get away? No. No, he cannot. So Jonji's life is lost, but is absolutely worth the price of exchange. Poison's out of position. There's a gap in that cross smoke. There's a gap in that cross smoke. He misses his shot. There's a tight gap. It had to be quick. And he doesn't connect. Bomb will now be going down. He's all alone. Poison needs to try and save, but even that is a bit of a tough ask.
He's sticking around. Oof, man, if I were him, I would have tried falling back and using that smoke to my advantage. Now the smoke is gone. Bad news are charging.
Oh, no.
No.
Trying to knife him now.
Okay, Alter. Yeah.
They're going for it. Swisher's going to catch. Certainly don't give him a chance back into the round. Spongy, as always, the level-headed voice of reason here. Going to chill out a bit. Make sure they don't actually somehow lose this round. They're going to lose 4 bodies to it, though. Okay. And now Spongy with the last. Will secure it. And it does make it a team ace. A little bit hasty there for Bad News Bears to hunt it down. They've obviously got the capital to spare, so they're not really too concerned about it. We're coming to the waning moments of the half. But they did take something that was an absolutely sure thing and make it far more risky than it needed to be.
Well, they were a little lackadaisical.
They're having fun.
A couple of players went for the knife, didn't work out. So yeah, they're having fun. That's an understatement there for the Bad News Bears. But yeah, 9-4 in their favor. Still, I mean, I want to give credit to Ggpr. They've got 4 rounds on the board against a very Bad News Bears team, and they've looked pretty good overall in this first half. Jonji is going to get the spray down over on George. 5v4 in their favor. Again, Ggpr is on a pistol round. They're just saving up for the final one, trying to get a 5th on their CT side before all is said and done here.
Whoop. Kills coming in. It's towards Banana. I was thinking maybe we'd have the lurking apartments coming through. Let's see if Art can do something with this Deagle. It's not looking likely. I mean, this round's certainly a very unlikely. Just not much going to happen. Just trying to figure out. I have no idea what Animu Exotic's profile pic is from. I know you dabble in some weebdom, John. Do you recognize it?
I do not. It might just be a random. It's possible. I don't know.
Oh no. I mean, look, at least Ggpr got to put some rounds on the board and show that they can play Inferno. It's much better than Mirage, even if they're gonna get run these last few rounds. But at least they put something up here. It was what, 4-6 at one point, something like that.
Yep, it was exactly that. So that's I think 5 rounds in a row now for the Bad News Bears. On that 6th one. George, we're gonna get Peter. He trades one back. Swisher gets George, but here we go. 3v3. Something for Ggpr. It's been a bit of chaos in this round. Bungy's trying to get the edge here over an Exotic. He does. Gives his team the man advantage, but it's expensive because looking at the health, you only have, what is it, 145 HP combined. That was a nice nade, though, to bring Ggpr down to 149 HP combined.
Spongy just with the awareness. Oh, he's gonna get spotted by Poison. Oh. Timing brutal there. He had just looked away. But that's actually gonna call them back over. They're like, all right, there's one op here.
This is such a good read.
It is crazy. It's a crazy read because Poison takes the shot and then comes over to reinforce his teammate because he assumes that would be the play. Did they go back all this way just get the... No. Swish's got the AWP. Where are they going to go?
That smoke is so good. Jonji from like all the way at the back of Banana smoking the cross, but they've read it. Oh, good read by Ggpr. So 2 good reads. One from Bad News Bears, this time by Ggpr to come back to the A site. They realized what was happening there as no one came down from Banana, and Poison's gonna spot one, but he misses the shot. That was so critical. Now the bomb is on the site. Jonji cleans up Poison, but Lowrider's still standing, makes it a 1v1. Swisher fakes the plant, hits the shot, but it's a leg shot. And Lowrider survives. There is the 5th round for Ggpr. So, still a breath of life for them as they head into the second half of action.
My heart. My heart, John. It's madness. Ah!
It is.
Madness and Zeusness going on here. Woo! Wow, that was nuts.
Yeah, far more exciting of a first half, indeed, than the previous map. But, I mean, we did talk about how close some of those early rounds were on Mirage, and Ggpr just couldn't close them out. Bad News
Sure.
Bears winning 2 3v5s, and I think a 4v2, or 2v4, excuse me, at one point. So, you know, I mean, this could have been the scoreline on Mirage if Ggpr closed out a few rounds, and this time they do manage to get a few on the board.
Now, I might be supposed to throw us to a break here, but I'm honestly not sure. So we're going to stick in the server for now, John. I think we might be enforcing full halftime breaks in order to take a little bit of a break on broadcast, but I'm not confident enough in that to throw away here. So you're going to be stuck with us. We're just going to watch Exotic try and pull off an ace in a meaningless round. She might get it. You might get it, John. I mean, look, is there a silver lining here? Yes, absolutely. Ggpr showed up much better. We saw some individual play. Exotic in particular looked very good in this matchup. We saw some big impact runs from Poison, the new man up on the roster. We saw the moment. We saw the flash. The reality is this Bad News Bears roster is so tough to handle, and especially on Inferno.
I think Ggpr, you know, up against maybe the lower half of their division will perform pretty well, and maybe will get the wins they need to avoid relegation there. Mythic, who they did play against and lose 2-1 against, and then you have, yeah, we're in the Extra Salt division, correct?
That is the one.
Extra Salt and Triumph. Oh boy, like it's not. I don't see them being able to pull off many wins. Or if they get a map victory against one of these teams, that's going to be impressive in itself. But the lower half, definitely, they could do very well, especially if Poison finds his groove with this starting five.
I mean, the reality is 4 teams make it out of each division into playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. Ggpr, yes, those top 3, very strong. Rest of the division, wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open. They could be a playoff team, by all measure.
It's possible.
In order to be a team that goes anywhere beyond making the playoffs, you got to be able to contend against the Bad News Bears. And that is the next task for them to encounter. Swisher gets backed off. Jonji actually gets dropped as well. His nade connected for some damage, but it's not a kill. And Arc working his way back into spawn. Now they clear these players out. Pistol round's looking very good indeed. Alter and Peter will try and fight their way back in from Banana, but they are locked out by a smoke, and at some point their position must be known. As soon as they reveal themselves, this is going to collapse upon them. It's going to take some really nifty pistol work to get something going here. They're going to try. All Ggpr has to do is not give them a fight. There's the fight. There's the first. A trade is there, and okay. Drop, done, dusted, dealt with. Very nice pistol round for Ggpr.
Yeah, and like you said, 2 nice pistol rounds, winning both of them here on Inferno to get to those 6 rounds overall. I think I pointed out in the previous half, though, it's really the gun rounds that they're going to have to show up here, show up in against the Bad News Bears. Here come the Deagles once more, and we saw Peter do the work he needed to in the previous half with that Deagle, so maybe we're going to see more of that this time on their CT side. Jonji over at Banana.
Him.
What's up?
Swisher's going to throw a flash for this. I'm going to go for a little flash peek. That should back him out. Oh, flash better come if it's going to come. It was a little bit too late. So Jonji does die. That was a risky peek to begin with. Didn't really work out for them. Swisher's now alone towards site. Peter's going to come to try and reinforce him. But they're going to have to concede Banana. They don't have the utility to fight back into this. Peter does actually have an HE. If he finds the exact right timing here, that could be very impactful. And they're going to leave him alone because he's still got a smoke. So Swisher's going to rotate off so they can 3-stack A. And Peter's job is to slow them down. Cross smoke comes in. He's going to throw the HE as well. There's no one to receive it. But that does enough to slow down Ggpr. 50 seconds on the clock. If they funnel back in towards A with these 3 pistols here. Actually, 4 pistols here as the stack comes through. This could get very risky indeed.
It depends. It depends if they go arch side or not. Or if they just cycle back to the B site.
Yeah, good call. Good read, good call. Empty bomb site. They'll get a plant. And presumably these 4 Bad News Bears players will save.
I don't know. I mean, they're probably feeling confident, but I do agree the save is the right call once the ball gets planted. Peter's just hunting around the flank, hoping he'll spot out someone. He does, and he hits the shot too. That's Arc down 4v4. Still, only Deagles. 2 players sitting on $0 in the bank, 2 at 50, and only Peter, well, with that frag, getting up to 700 in the bank. They're just going to hang around the A site and wait. I think Peter might make a run for the AK, but he has to be guarding it. He's waiting for that shot, takes it, misses, and takes a bit of damage for himself. So, yeah, now it's time to fall back, save the armor, save the deagle. You don't want to overcommit here.
The thing is, with this B&B roster, keeping 4 deagles with armor, that can swing you around. So there's no reason to throw them away. Here comes the hit. Alter's going to get another one. If they can keep this economy honest, they will certainly take it. Exotic gets 2 full kills there. Looked like it was a dangerous position for him, but he managed to come away with it. So there's only 2 deagle armors taken through.
It was a very dangerous position. A nice flashbang thrown by Swisher, but the problem was he peeked a little too early. That gave Exotic a chance to see where he was. He controlled his spray, and then the second one was on the flash fade. So nicely done by Ggpr to hang on there and also eliminate 2 more deagles out of the hands of the Bad News Bears. So they walk into this one with 2 USPSs, a P250, and the 2 deagles saved from the previous round. Ggpr looking controlled and structured so far here on their T side as they get to 4 AKs and the MAC-10.
There's the push. John G. Swisher. It's not really going to work out. Low percentage play. It definitely does not wind up working. But hey, they wanted to go aggressive. They want to get this round over and done with early. The 2 deagles now are on site. So if Ggpr ultimately do decide to come back towards B, there is still a little bit of a threat here. And they are testing. There's a tag. They're going to have to fall off the angle, but Lowrider's been put on notice. And actually, they want to come into it. Thinking that maybe it's again a situation where there's just that 1 deag. This is where the presence is. There's an opportunity here on Molly's going to make life difficult though for Spongy, and there is nowhere to go. No safe haven, no corner. Alter finds 1. Let's see if Peter can do more damage, keep that economy perhaps limited, but no, he will be checked. He will be dropped, and George will step away with 3 kills on the round.
Maybe a bit of a statement, confident take there from Ggpr. Wanted to show that they could go up against the Bad News Bears straight up on the B site and win the round, and that's exactly what they did. That was very clean, even though of course only pistols that they were going up against. Here comes a true test. 4M4A4s and the AWP for the Bad News Bears. Over on Ggpr, exact same setup except it's AKs instead of M4A4s. Here comes Ggpr looking for some banana control, but they're not going to get any. Bad News Bears through all their utility, and Ggpr is going to have to back off and look towards alt mid and mid. Oh, Peter peeks around, doesn't hit the shot, and goes down to 37. Mike, he's going to have to fall back now.
It's fortunate that wasn't a kill. It was a headshot, but it must have caught the edge of the door. Yeah, so Peter will be able to limp away. That op still in play, and with the AWP, it doesn't really matter if he's down in health. He just needs to connect that 1 bullet. Utility coming over. It looks like it is going to be an A. Taking the drop in pressure onto Alter. Spongy can't keep him alive, and now Spongy's down for the count as well, so this could trigger a save. Peter looking for that last shot, and he's going to back right out of there. Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
Retreat, bail out, Ggpr. They don't even have the bomb on site. They're going to need to go back and get it, but they do have this site and players untouched, as they will now bring this scoreline back within 1, and suddenly, John, we've got a game on our hands.
We definitely do. This is very impressive stuff from Ggpr. And this is the typical save you're going to see on Inferno once the A site is taken. If you have 3 players leaning towards B, there's really no reason to come back because there's so many angles to clear the A site on this map that it's just not worth it. You're better off making sure you're alive in the following round. Arch trying to make life difficult here for Swisher over at Sandbags, throws the Molotov, but he's just going to back off. They don't want to lose their rifles either. They are still setting up to make sure that if anyone from the Bad News Bears peeks around these corners, they're going to punish them. Peter thinking the same thing, though, on the other end. And Lowrider goes down to 44. Likely retreat back in towards CT spawn. So all 5 players Ggpr are going to survive here. They pick up a 9th round. They're 1 round away from tying things up here, Mike. And in fact, although they are on the season 1 and 2 in Premier on Inferno, they have 39 rounds for, 46 rounds against for a +7 round differential, and every single match that they've played, they've gotten at least 10 rounds. The win against SKDC, 16-14, lost to Rise, 13-16, and lost to Oceanus, 10-16.
Poison and Peter facing off down mid here. Nades are gonna come over. That's a lot of damage onto George. He is limping. Just 10 points of health remaining, and it seems like Jonchi wants this fight. Again, tag up damage gonna come through. The Molly's inflicting further. George on 1 point of health. Lowrider not faring too much better. And they are coming towards B still, but the presence has been read nicely for the Bad News Bears. Not committed yet. Minute 15 on the clock. There's plenty of time for Ggpr to work with. Hopefully they don't get too sucked into this from the utility that they've spent. Peter's going looking for it. If they hop up over that half wall, he's got them. He's going to come down. Actually, that's an opening shot for Poison. Nicely done. A little bit late into the angle. Now things are going to get weird. Smoke goes down to allow Swisher to try and get away, but he's playing close up. He's stuck in. Expect Jonji to be here as well. Perhaps not. Jonji burning. He's found a gap. Just the slimmest of margins. Swisher gets 2. The low HP players as well. Jonji playing it late. Sees the player walk through. He's flashed. He's blinded. They haven't checked him. Oh, they've all walked past. He gets 2. The bomb has gone down. He had to concede it. He brings it down to a clutch, though. But the patient play from Jonji nearly pays off. Exotic. A chance to seal this, to tie the scoreline up, but he's going to have to come up against Spongy, and he's going to look in the right direction, but Spongy has the angle, has the shot, has the round. Defuse will be on. He'll even get the AWP for their troubles, and that is going to be bad news. Bears clinging to the lead only just off of a huge play from Jonji.
Oh, the amount of discipline it takes to make that play by Jonji is insane. Not to fire your gun, waiting and waiting, hoping that no one is going to check the corner, and luckily they didn't. He took his chance, got the 2K, could have tried to flick around for the 3rd. Luckily for Ggpr, the last player had their wits about them, but it was not enough. Well played by Spongy, slowly but surely making his way into construction, and then he gets that final frag that the Bad News Bears need to, like you said, just barely hang on to this lead. 11-9 in their favor, as Ggpr are truly proving, you know, to be quite capable of at least hanging in there.
Oh no,
the best.
What is this?
I don't know. Jonji's in the smoke now. This is tough. They don't know. They have no idea he's here.
Now he knows. He's going to get one. Only one. Okay. Jonji just tried to go for a balls to the walls play, and his balls got clipped. Not a good feeling, John. Oh, but there's going to be a trade. That brings it back to even numbers. That dropped the bomb. That's information. Peter now holds the angle. They don't want this. They don't want this smoke. But if he comes back in, Poison's looking for him. And once again, okay, Peter goes looking. That is now 2 rounds in a row where he has been punished for making virtually the same play by Poison again and again. And now they've got this site, and in a 1v3, Spongy, I think, is probably just going to hope that they come A. And if they don't, we might just see the save.
I mean, we talked about how rare it is for Peter to lose those op versus op duels, and that's 2 rounds in a row for the rookie in his first match. Poison getting the win on the duel.
I mean, it's just that, it's that slow clear onto Banana. You can't do that without utility, man. You can't do that. At least, what he's hoping is he's hoping that someone's not checking it, that they're maybe still flitting around the half wall, or that he's going to catch them as they back out, and then he can get one shot and reclaim the space. And it's hugely powerful if it works out, but if it doesn't, that's what happens. If the op is locked in on the angle, that's what happens. You get destroyed. And we've seen now Poison do it twice. So if I'm Peter, maybe I'm not taking that exact face again. At least not without a flashbang, without a molly in towards logs, without something to make Poison's life uncomfortable before you go headhunting.
So the bomb is going to explode here, and Ggpr for the 4th consecutive time this season on Inferno pick up at least 10 rounds. Can they get their 2nd win here is another question. The Bad News Bears, looking at their economy, it's not too shabby. They could force up around the M4, but the better play would be just to get some pistols. Yeah, and some pistols, a little bit of utility as well. The Swag 7 works, why not? Swisher buys it up, drops it for Jonji. And we'll see where they play that. Probably in apartments, but it could be at the B side as well.
The thing is, we know this team can win with pistols. I'm surprised even to see them invest this little. Figured we'd get armored eagles going through here and maybe go for a really aggressive play. Okay, there we go. There's the nades. Airstrike, lowrider, down for the count. A mortar just landed at his feet, and he took the full brunt of the effect. So lowrider out of play. They're down a player. Jonji's playing around the half wall with this mag. Has to not get aggressive. A big ask for Jonji. But you got to stay firmly planted here. Feet to the floor. Get a nail gun if you need to keep him here. Swisher's presumably setting up for a flashbang for Jonji to go for a clear. Oh, don't love that. Is he going to throw it? Is Jonji going to come around? I'm just watching Swisher cam right now to see if he actually lets go of this flash he's got held.
He's thinking about it.
He's going to throw the smoke to imply that the player's not here, and now they're coming to clear it. Oh, did either spot the other? No, I don't think so. Maybe they did, because there's the spam. They seem to be aware, but the jumping mag is working out. Finally, the op finds a shot through. But here's the thing. There's only 40 seconds on the clock now. They don't have any control.
Nope. You're absolutely right, Mike. They're going to try and go up mid now and go for some A control, but it's very late. Now only 30 seconds left as they go for their hit. Peter's waiting with the Deagle, and you have Alter coming up who could do a lot of damage to the CZ. No one's coming up truck side. Is the off looking here? It is, but not enough. Alter gets the frag with the CZ. Now it's only 2 players left coming onto the site, and one late is Arc. Can Arc even get there to help is the question, and are they going to clear this corner? Peter waiting, they don't. He gets one and survives without any health lost. He will get a second as well, and as you mentioned, Mike, there's no time left. That is the round. Arc's going to try and get something done because he has to in this position. One frag, will he survive? Yes,
Ooh,
no.
Nope.
Oh my goodness, at the last second goes down. Oh.
So he gets clocked.
Yeah.
He gets clocked. Did he have enough money for it? Yeah, he did. They're fine. They're actually fine. George is the only player who's going to be limited. And with a Mac 10 coming up, they'll just reinvest back into utility. They're presumably going to go for a faster play here. Could have been worse. But, wow. What a round to win for the Bad News Bears.
Exactly. And you mentioned it, Mike. They didn't invest much, but that's even better now.
There comes the hit. George tried to get aggressive with that Mac 10, but Spongy was ready for him. They've taken top brackets. They've abandoned the banana hit. But look at the adjustment from Bad News Bears. We've seen them so aggressive towards banana again and again and again. This time they don't detect the presence. They're playing much more conservatively back towards site. Knowing that the pressure is going to be on the Ggpr, they're leaving it to them to make a move. Poison again looking to open things up for his team with that AWP. And he's been good with it. But this is going to be tough. There's a player in pit. There's a player on site. And there's Swisher holding back towards the library. And it seems like Swisher's the direction they're going to go. Peter could get into the angle to hold them from Arch. Swisher's calming that he smoked off here, but they're going to wait a little bit too long. He gets one, the second as well, and that's the bomb toppled onto the cobblestones. Now Peter should be able to take up an angle to assist his teammate, and this is disaster. This spells ruin for Ggpr. Poison is going to try and be a blunt instrument here, but he was spotted. Swisher shouldn't do that again, but he will, and the timing is perfect. That's just brutal for Poison. Exotic somehow gets 2 out of this, and he will bail out towards B. But John G should be able to take up the angle, just hold towards Tree, and I don't think there's anything he's going to be able to do. And with 8 points of health, if John G breathes on the back of his neck, he is going to be over and done with, and he's thunderfooting this. So John G hears this every day of the week, and there's the kill coming in. There's the round 6 here, and there's Bad News Bears on to 13.
And a little BM on top of it. The cherry on top of the cake here for the Bad News Bears. 3-round lead. I mean, I'm not sure the BM is necessarily appropriate in this one because Ggpr has been playing well, but you know
John
what?
G always
makes
does
it fun, right? Yeah, I don't mind it from John G. I know it's in good fun. Ggpr, not going to have much in this round, Mike. 2 Deagles, a P250, and a couple of Glocks. The only utilities in Exotic's hands, a flash and a smoke, and what a meaty nade that was. Connects on every single player, 3 of them to almost half health. And Ggpr are now just going to continue their trek up mid and hope they can connect on something as they go towards this A site.
It was a hot tamale. They're going to come peek into the AWP. Someone's about to die. Someone's about to die. There's the shoulder. Peter doesn't bite. Coming around. That time it actually doesn't connect. Now they're going to try and run down the off, and he realizes what's happening. Got to get out of here. Pistol out. Peter does get overwhelmed. Problem is, well, Alter's here for a few more. And now this should be all over and done with. Poison does have the AWP, though. We know he likes this gun. He's going to take the first. Does he expect John G in the angle? He got tagged. Down to 10 points of health. He somehow slipped into the library. He's trying to check out his favorite book. He is getting flanked here. And there's no way he expects this either. So now he's down for the count. John G takes the kill. That's going to be the round. And by hook or by crook, we're coming up to the end of it now. Bad News Bears looking to put away the 2-0.
Yep, 2 rounds away from sealing the deal here. And it's looking quite good for them. I love the idea for Ggpr there to try and overload the AWP of Peter, and they did. I mean, they got him down for the count, but unfortunately for them, Alter was waiting around the corner for the 3K spray down, and after that point, it was all Bad Bears. Still, Ggpr walking into this one with 5 AKs. And we're going to go for some deep smokes here. I believe that was their smoke. Throw them down banana. And 3 Bad News Bears, make that 2, are jumping around here looking for some information.
It was like the tonality of the spam shots through apartments when you're an opera holding back here. It's like a wooden xylophone, kind of, you know, one of those rustic ones.
Yeah.
Just the wind whistling through the holes that have been chewed in the walls of your nice apartment. Whoever runs the plastering business in this small Italian village must get a lot of work.
I can only imagine, Mike.
Just constantly cleaning up after it. Every round. Swisher's holding banana. They got a deep smoke down here, so they're going to have a lot of control. 44 seconds on the clock, and this is, again, an issue that we saw for Ggpr. Time started to get a little low for them. They got a little bit hasty on their takes. They left themselves open. That was one of the pistol rounds they lost, where they ran the clock down a bit too much. Now they try and take some banana control, but Swisher's still here. Flashes for himself. Swisher. That was a little bit crazy. Nearly works out. He does get 1.5 to be quite frank, and they're actually backing off of it. 20 seconds, but this is the right read. Bad News Bears overreacted, thinking that was the full commit. 15 seconds, and now it's just Peter. I say just Peter. He does drop a Molotov. He does drop the bomb. 10 seconds. They got to get back to it. You got to rush. They are going to be able to punch in these numbers with no time to spare. But golly gee, that got way too close for comfort. The retake will be on. They might want to wait for John G to get in position to help them out. So that will take a little bit longer. I'll run some time down off the clock. There's no one in pit. George does hold from the graveyard. Timing of his peak could be huge here. If he can find one, he makes life a lot easier for his two teammates in towards sight. But here comes the swing. He's going to get nothing. He's lost his teammate. There we go. Kills coming in. Arx gets one. It's all onto George, and there's just too many bodies here. John G in late. They will secure the round, and that is map and series point found for the Bad News Bears.
Yeah, I mean, good job by the whole Bad News Bears squad by waiting for John G to come around to support, because if he's not there, Peter could have gone down to that player on the A site. Then it would have been a 1v1, but because he's there, he sprays down the last one for Ggpr and secures, as you mentioned, match point for the Bad News Bears. They have 5 rounds to seal this one up. Ggpr are going to do whatever they can here. They're down to the wire. They're buying up whatever they can afford. That is going to be 4 AKs and a Galil and a good bit of utility, at least smokes, and a couple of Molotovs up here. One of those already thrown. Actually, all their Molotovs are gone. Only a flashbang, smoke, decoy. Make that 4 smokes, a flashbang, and a decoy left for them to work with, as the Bad News Bears have everything but the kitchen sink at their disposal. Peter gets the op shot on George. It's a great start, man.
It really is. It's a classic apartment pick. John, I just realized something very silly. I didn't update the series score on the match page or on the game page until just now. So now it's accurate. We didn't know that the Bad News Bears were up 1-0. Oh, John G about to make it a 2-0 here. Drops 2 bodies, finds the bomb as well. Confirms Lowrider's position. It's so much information for the team, and you can see Peter's coming back in. He wants his fight against Poison. Poison, which direction are you looking? Oh, nearly caught that, but there's a player under the porch, and that's going to be it. It's all onto Lowrider. Oh, 1v4. He's got to do it all. It would need the ace and the clutch to see it through. And he does find Peter. So he's made it a little bit more possible for himself. He does have control of the bomb as well. His 45 seconds coming through, and a player coming up the dark tunnel right behind him, but he just slips around the wall. Good read for Lowrider. There's no way he expects this. Indeed, he is going to be tapped down. Swisher finishes it off. That's going to be the game. The 2-0 secured. And Bad News Bears, well, they were running it from the beginning. There was a good attempt from Ggpr, and I think it shows good resilience for a new team to Premier. The fact that they managed to bring it that close, considering they got 16 out on the first map. They shook it off, and they gave us a really good Inferno game. But ultimately, look, B&B's top of the division for a reason here, John.
And undefeated, obviously, sitting at 8-0. They do have 2 forfeit wins, but I'm pretty sure those 2 forfeit wins that came through would have been wins anyway for them. So yeah, 6-0, but 8-0 officially, and they could go undefeated for the entire season. I think they only have a few matches left to work on, and man, they're just looking super strong. Ggpr, on the other hand, as you mentioned, gotta give them credit. I mean, losing 16-0 never feels good, but they managed to bounce back, get 10 rounds on Inferno against Bad News Bears squad that, like you mentioned, extremely tough to go up against, and I think that it bodes well, at least for their future matches here in this season.
It certainly does. Well, that's going to wrap up the show for us, folks. We will be back next week with more Premier action. Tuesday on the main ESL channel with the lovely Aussie crew running production, and then Wednesdays, it's just John and I. Good old down-home rustic production where I have to push the buttons, and you guys have to watch me push the buttons. Ha! Congratulations to Bad News Bears for continuing their undefeated campaign. Ggpr, I'm going to be honest, I kind of want to see more of them from that game. That was encouraging to me. The fact that Inferno was so interesting after Mirage was the stomp, I want to see more. I want to see more from this team, and we will be able to. If you want to check out the standings for NA's Path to Pro, just go to esea.g, whatever the suffix is.
The website?
Net, everything. Every version of it. I know there's also a really snazzy standings page, but it's not occurring to me right this moment, so I'm not going to say it and make a fool of myself. This is the Path to Pro, and we'll be back with more next week. See you then, folks. Bye-bye.
See you guys.